let's recap the last session as best as one can with all that. You guys are not allowed to fight. You guys are not allowed to separate. You guys are not allowed to do anything individually. You must always be together because it is really difficult to try and sum up what the heck you were doing. Session 11, Spreading News. Morning dawned, and the 4 novices made their ways individually back to Saker's Keep in search of Captain Nora and hopefully answers at last. Bo learned she may be there from Darian the barkeep, who heard the captain returned in very bad shape. Thayan had stayed outside the temple all night in prayer and woke up exhausted and still holding the acolyte Yonai's hands. He admitted that it was Captain Nora that left the blood in the temple the night before, but the circumstances were unusual. Viola also heard a rumor from the women in her barracks that Captain Nora returned badly injured and would likely be at Saker's Keep. Snow was set to task by Emil and Rosita, 2 barmaids at the Wild Pike, to bring tea leaves to Saker's Keep, and there the novices reunited. They learned quickly from the acolyte Jeremy that Captain Nora was actually taken to the officers' residences in the Raleigh district, a place off limits to them. They would have to sneak in. Before leaving, Snow took Thayan aside to relieve a heavy burden of his past weighing on him after the incident of their first assignment. Thayan returned his trust with her own, revealing an infant skull in her path, a reminder of why she fights. Meanwhile, Bo and Viola discussed how much they ought to trust anyone in the guardianship if there is a spy in their midst. The 4 reassembled and made a semi-successful attempt to scale the wall and dodge the watchman at the rising gate. Thayan's fall from 30 feet alerted the watchman, and Bo disguised himself as Lord Grenell Bronstone himself to clear them. Then they hitched a ride to the Raleigh district. You're taking this cart along with this watchman who is still probably just shaking a little bit at suddenly being told he's going to be taking Lord Grenell Bronstone and some novices, some others, with him to the Raleigh district, hitching a ride. It's not a very, very long ride. You're only about, 2.5, 3 miles away, max. And you do have a map that Bo had acquired from the acolyte, Jeremy, at Saker's Keep. He wasn't supposed to take it, but he did. Poor Jeremy didn't fight back. So
Bo did also request him to go quickly, too. So he's going at top speed, I assume.
How quickly are you attempting to spur this horse on?
Said as fast as you can, in some sense. I don't remember the exact wording, but he was like, he definitely said something to make it go.
Okay. Let's see how well this horse does.
Viola and Bo just bounce off the back.
Oh no.
Well, Stan's nice and comfy up at front, because Bo figured that they wouldn't converse that much. He's trying to keep conversations all around to a minimum. So he put
Snow is in a box, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Snow's boxed
I'm in a crate, humming quietly to myself and identifying things.
So Lord Grenell tells this watchman to, hurry along. And he looks a little nervous as he's watching the standard horse, kind of spurs it on. The horse gets a little uncomfortable, starts moving quicker, hits the reins one more time, starts to pick up a little bit of speed. Then he stops it there as he doesn't, everything in the back begins to kind of move side a little bit. It's a little less comfortable than you might want it to be, especially Snow, who has crawled into one of these crates, and it went from kind of a gentle rocking to he's feeling his shoulder continuously bump the side of this crate while he's trying to sing and identify things. But the horse moves on. So it probably only takes you 25, 30 minutes, I guess. Probably cut that in half. Yeah, about 25, 30 minutes. As those up front, those who are not sitting in a crate. Is that enough time for you, Snow, to do all the identifying you want to do?
Yes.
Okay.
That is the amount of time needed.
He had 3 things, and it was 10 minutes per. Yep. So it was a ritual.
Yep.
It's about 30 minutes. Okay, perfect. So you see Well, I'll say this. Bo, you're up front and you've got the map. You are as you're taking this path, you do see it does start to split. There's a more northern entrance and there is a more middle, a little further south.
Wait, Bo's
gate
not
that
up
it's heading
front.
towards.
Stan was up front with them. Bo
Stain's
got
up
in the
front?
back.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he offered it to him, and then he said that Stan fell, so she's gonna be up front, and then he climbed into the back with Viola.
Okay. Are you watching where the cart is going then?
I trusted him to take it to the entrance.
Sure. All right. So Stan, you see that the road is splitting at this section, and there is a more northern direction, and then there is a more southern direction. Both are heading towards the impending wall of the Raleigh district. And you see him start heading towards that northern road. So he starts going, and in due time, you can see the wall approaching. Something about it just feels richer than the Peace District, as if this were just sturdier, firmer. It feels more, maybe secure is the word, as if they're putting a lot of effort into a structure here. There are some watchmen that are at this gate as well who immediately stop their chatter as the cart is passing through, and they do spot, because he's quite notable, Lord Bronstone. They stop, they give a type of salute with their arms across their chests and a short nod of their heads as he's coming through. And you enter into but you do enter through the gate into it's not very hectic, but there is movement of people, a little bit more even than there was back at the Rising Gate. But this looks like you entered into a more residential area. So the cart comes to a stop off to the side, and the man who was driving it turns around, addresses you, Lord Bronstone. Sir, this was I was heading towards residential. I had some deliveries to do. Where were you headed, sir?
The Mercantile District.
Oh, did you need another cart, or did you need? I really have to get these. I really have to get these going, sir. I do apologize. I don't mean to interrupt your time.
Oh, not at all, not at all. We can just get off here. Or we can make them wait a little bit longer.
No.
Roll a persuasion check for me.
Alright, so 15 with psionic.
Okay, you do not need to cross off your psionic die. He looks down the road that he was heading, which was heading further east, looks back at you, and you can see on his face this torn uncertainty before he's kind of sighs and nods his head and rallies up the horse again and turns the cart. He starts to go southbound instead of eastbound. As you are moving, it is definitely getting more vibrant, more full of life. You're passing through quite a few smaller houses. They're closer together, but they still have this really nice quality to them. They look very suburban. You pass by a couple of green areas between them, little park areas, little fountains, some trimmed up, spruced up trees, and it all feels very warm, very inviting in this area. As you head away from this residential side, you're leaning closer inwards to the district, and now it's starting to, the houses are more sparse, getting further away, but you're starting to see little vendors popping up. You're seeing some smaller buildings, and then eventually you find yourself looking at a series of brick and mortar stores with various odds and ends. They're not all very large. It looks like it still could be kind of more of a pop-up kind of feel to them, but there's definitely more of them. You can certainly say you've probably entered this mercantile ward. The watchman starts to slow the horse as other people are taking small wagons and he's in this larger wagon, really meant to just go around the edges, but you requested it and so he will do it. He does slow down a little bit and calls over his shoulder, my lord, any specific place?
The not mundane arcane.
Was there, pardon my curiosity, my lord, but is there something specific you needed?
Why, yes.
You know, there really isn't much there that I could imagine you might need.
Well, that's for you to imagine and me to know.
Oh, give me either another persuasion or a deception. I'll let you decide.
Both of them are the exact same thing. 11.
Okay.
And that was just persuade.
Okay. He looks at you and he respectfully nods, but he does stop the horse and he says, my lord, I do apologize. I don't think that little Henny here is gonna get much further. And I don't want to interrupt the flow of the city. I really must get these shipments delivered. I'm so sorry. But if you need anything else, please let me know. I do need to turn back around.
I understand. So I guess her get up, and because he stopped it, right? It stopped?
Yeah.
Alright, so I guess her climb out? I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, is the guy facing us actually?
He's been watching you.
Alright, is he still watching us?
Are you waiting for him to stop watching you?
Yes. Because we know that Snow's in the crate. We need to get him out.
Just wait for him to turn his head. That's all I need.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm waiting on, is for him to turn his head around.
Sam will turn to the guy and be like, can you help me get down from here? It's a bit of a big step.
Yes,
Would you like me
please.
to roll for
Please be a gentleman and help the lady down.
You can roll with advantage. Roll a persuasion. Roll with
All right.
advantage.
We're gonna use the lucky dice and the bone dice. Let's go. That is a dirty 20.
Yeah.
He's been watching you. You can tell he has his eye on Lord Bronstone, and his eyes are beginning to kind of narrow a little bit as he's getting out in maybe what seems like more of a Beau fashion than really a Lord Bronstone fashion. I mean, Beau didn't quite memorize all of his mannerisms. It was a very short interaction. So he's been watching, and then you say this, Dayan, ask for his assistance. Immediately he turns his head to you, nods, gets out of the cart, comes around the horse's side to come over. His eyes are on you now as he takes your hand to help you down.
She'll take his hand. And what was your name again?
Aaron, my lady.
Aaron. Thank you. You've been quite
Yes,
kind
ma'am.
to us today.
It's the least I could do if you're needed by Lord Bronstone. I can't imagine an honor being bestowed so rapidly. It's very
It was
odd,
unexpected
but
for all of us.
I can only imagine.
I was
What
gonna-
business do you
oh.
guys have here?
I'm afraid we've been told not to speak of it. You know how these things can be.
Yes, I understand. Again, I apologize. My curiosity can get the best of me.
Curiosity itself is not a problem. You know when to stop, it seems. And that is a gift.
Since Beau's
While
already,
this conversation is happening, Snow is
Stay
exiting.
I was gonna have Beau whisper to Viola to like knock on the crate, give you the signal to get out. Huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out.
Okay. I'll say with the distraction, it is enough for you to make your way out of the crate. Did he not know that Snow was back there at all?
I was invisible when I got in the grate.
That is true. That's the part I was forgetting. Okay.
Viola, stand right next to me. Snow, stand behind us, and we're just kind of conceal you this way.
Yeah.
Are you a foot shorter than usual?
Yes. Now I hope if anything, because I'm not short enough yet.
Yeah, Snow will stand behind Viola, but he is paying attention to where Aaron is looking, and he will take a reaction if Aaron notices him.
Okay. As he is nodding his head gently towards Thayan, he then makes his way just immediately up into the cart from the passenger side, with his eyes on Thayan and the lovely Henny the horse, shuffles his way across the seat to get back towards the reins, nods to her farewell, and by then he'll slowly turn it around to bid a farewell to Lord Bronstone. So what is he looking at? Tell me, as Viola is like a foot taller.
So it's just Bronstone standing next to Viola, with Snow behind the both of us.
Snow is behind Viola specifically, since your disguise is of a dwarf.
Viola's just smiling and waving. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Perfectly normal.
No, give me a
Just doing
stealth
normal
check.
things. Heck yeah. That is a dirty 20.
Okay. Aaron nods his head to Lord Bronstone, gives a deep bow to Viola, turns himself back around in his seat, and spurs the horse on, heading back in the direction that you came. So you are here in the Mercantile Ward.
It was
I
easy.
never do that again, except for when we have to go back, clearly. But besides that,
Oh well,
please, no.
I can only do this one time a day. We'll have to come
This
up
was
with another
very
way out to get back.
Perfect. Great. Okay.
It'll be
Alright,
Where
fine.
are we going
let-
from here?
Let's go
Yeah, well,
shopping.
let's find the shops real quick. We got about, like, I don't know, 25 minutes before I switch back, which means discounts.
Okay. How are you looking for this shop? You've not been in this district before. You've not been anywhere near here before.
Do the
So-
shops have labels?
You see signs on some of the different ones. The smaller kind of in and out vendors, it's smaller. This doesn't sound like it might be one of those. So give an investigation check, everyone, please.
Oh,
Natural 20.
I got an 18.
I got
17.
a 5.
Loved my rose dice.
I got a rock. What did it say in
And I
it?
was
She got
ready
a
to go.
19. I misread my dice. That's a 19.
So an 18, a 19, a natural 20, and a 5. Okay, excellent.
Dale is
If we
taking in the
can't find this
sights.
place.
Her heart is pounding in her chest after all of this. This is the most rule breaking she might have ever done in her life, potentially. You can almost hear it thudding against her armor. She is so nervous. The rest of you barely mind her. Viola, you'll be fine. And you guide her. Snow, it is incredibly easy for you to weave your way, as if you yourself are just have a tendency towards the arcane, like it calls to you somehow. Like you got practice with those 3 identify spells you knocked out.
I'm in the groove.
So you closer towards the back edge of this district, you find this outstanding looking building. You're kind of surprised Viola couldn't see it from a mile back. It is bright.
Excellent.
It is colorful. The banner going across it looks like a rolled out red carpet as it reads "Not Mundane," and below it, like a secondary rolled out signage, it says "Arcane," and the letters themselves actually glitter and sparkle, and occasionally you see a zap go out like a spark of electricity. And below it are 2 tall oaken doors with curved handles that look like they could be made of gold just in front of you.
No beelines.
Bo turns
See 'em going
Viola around so she could see the building.
Oh my gosh, there it is.
Stan pulls her mask back up.
See, this is why we didn't shop in the Peace District. They don't have buildings like this.
This looks
This is a pretty
absolutely fantastic.
magnificent
Let's go.
building.
So, Snow, you said you were making a beeline right inside.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Bo, you were right behind him.
Yep.
Cool. Ladies, you're following in.
Following along.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Give me a perception check as soon as you walk in.
That was another natural 20.
Got 9.
I got a 10.
That's
Snow
a
is in his
natural
element.
Is this a magic store?
Snow
What's
is here
going
to
on here?
perceive the magical things. Never seen this much before. He's never been so observant.
The moment you walk in, you notice these 2 black suits of armor. Before you even notice just the bright boldness of the building, you notice these 2 black suits of armor on either side of the door. The one to your left has its arms down, just standing, waiting. The one to your right, you caught it as its arm lifted the moment you walked in. And you feel some kind of something sensation wash over you. You felt something affect you somehow as you step through the threshold.
I was gonna stop before anyone else comes
Okay.
in behind him.
Okay, you stop
Can
and you are
he-
looking into.
Can he tell what affected him? If it was something arcane?
Give me an Arcana check.
Come on, Rose Dice, you're doing so good today. It is no longer doing good today. So, with my expertise, that brings it up to a 9.
Top notch. No, you don't know what it was. You might imagine it's something magical, but this is also a magic shop. And that's a
Sure.
really cool suit of armor that you saw.
Was pretty cool. Sure, it was nothing. Continue on.
Okay. You walk in. Bo, you come in behind him. You'd rolled, what, an 18?
For that last one, I rolled a 9.
Oh, on the perception?
On the on the perception. The investigation, I rolled an 18.
Okay. You see Snow stopping in front of you for a moment, but then he continues in. You walked in. Viola and Sayan, as you 2 walk in, you notice that almost immediately after Bo walked through, or Lord Bronstone walked through, you were shortly now walking behind Bo
I knew it.
Bo,
as his illusion dropped.
Bo,
I knew
you're
it.
not Granny anymore.
Oh well.
No
Viola's gonna
discounts for
just
us.
look around and see if anybody was watching the door when we walked in.
Give me a perception check.
17.
You nervously start to look around, and just as you turn your head, there is a counter, kind of an L-shaped counter. There's a little scale, little money change thing over there, and pops a woman. You see a half-elf woman, her brown hair kind of falling over her shoulders, as she immediately turns and looks in your direction, pauses a moment, smiles at you. Hello. Welcome to the Not Mundane Arcane. My name is Faith. It's good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Please feel free to look around. We have all kinds of things here. Something is bound to suit your needs. If you need anything, you can just ask me.
Thank you. We're
do you
excited to
spell
be
her
here
name?
and do some shopping.
Excellent. She's pointing out the various places where there are things to find. Further past her counter, you can see it's actually, it's very sparse. You see a small shelf that's got a few books and a couple of scrolls. You see another shelf that has a few bottles of various colored liquids. You see an area that has some clothing, some attire. It feels fancy, feels pretty. And you also see a corner of the room that is walled with just a curtain leading to it. And then another area that looks like it's walled off, but it looks like a changing room.
They're closed
Well,
somewhere.
if there's not a lot here, Snow will in fact look at everything here.
Oh boy.
I was gonna start with that
Don't say.
curtained area.
Brenna's ready.
What was Bo doing?
He was going towards not the changing room, but you said there was some kind of curtain or something that was off in a corner.
Okay, cool. I'll do that in a moment. I'll get to you. Stayan, were you looking for anything specific?
Not much. She's just sort of looking around, just keeping an eye on things.
Excellent. Viola, did anything draw your attention? There is a little counter that has a couple of shiny things on it, some little medallions and jewel type things on it.
Viola will holler, well, I guess if we're still standing right next to each other, she'll kind of pat Snow on the shoulder and say, I didn't forget about that dare. If you find something you fancy, let me know, but I'm gonna head over here. And she's gonna point towards those shiny things and walk over there and start looking.
Cool. And the Lady Fate follows you, Viola, and just is kind of peeking over at what you're looking at. So she says, a lady of refined taste, and it suits you perfectly. I think these would actually look lovely on you, and of course, they have magic ability. That's all I would have at a place like this. She lifts a medallion. It's just a pretty plain circle, just of gold, and it's on a chain. And she kind of hovers it in front of you, and she says, this is a medallion of detecting thought. You can see right into someone's mind with it. And it matches. Lovely. And she lays that back down, and she lifts this kind of decorative looking ring that she holds in front of her hand. She doesn't put it on her hand. There's this little kind of airy looking jewel on it, like a bright colored jewel on it. And she says, so based on what I see here, this beautiful vision I see here, you look like you are more endurance than maybe like a sprint type. And that's excellent for you. And if you wanted to balance that out, this could help. This would assist you with vertical distance. Not so much long ways distance, but vertical distance. You might appreciate something like this.
I found something to help you with walls.
Stay and we'll come over. You called?
She was just talking about how this ring helps you with vertical distance. I feel like it's perfect for you.
That makes me so happy.
Wait, what does it look like though? Like what's the setting? What is the jewel? Is there a jewel on it? What's the color scheme of it? Because if it doesn't match, Viola's not going to suggest it.
Oh no, it's beautiful. It's a princess cut. It's a princess cut gem. It looks like a diamond. It's sitting on a gold base. The actual band itself is kind of these two pieces of metal that become one, like this beautiful knot below your hand, with these little knots that look kind of floral going across it.
Viola, I just don't know, or Viola, gosh dang it, why is that plagued us so much? Stay in. I just don't know about gold with your armor. We'd have to see if we could get the setting changed, but it could be a possibility.
What exactly does it do?
That's a good question.
As she explains again, that it's for vertical assistance.
But what does that mean?
Mechanically, it is a ring of jumping.
Oh, okay.
It gives you the jump spell.
Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking, but then I wasn't sure if it was that or something else that helps the vertical too.
I realized, as I said, like endurance versus like sprint. I thought you was gonna think it was something else. I'm like, no, it's not for this distance. It's for this distance.
What sorts of price point do most of these things tend to hover around?
Excellent question. Very smart. I like to keep these at reasonable prices for being antique. These are irreplaceable, and we scavenge and find these in the furthest corners. So this lovely item, and she lifts the medallion again, is a mere 600 gold. Fair price. And the ring, even better, only 200.
Indeed. It's something to keep in mind.
Of course. And she lays it back down on this little pillow it's sitting on. Snow, you're walking about and you find various items. There's some scrolls. If you ask her about them, you know, she'll show you. Did you have a particular place you wanted to look? There are scrolls, there are potions.
The scrolls and books first.
Sure. You find a scroll that she actually mentions is good for those who are prone to healing and assisting, restoring. It's a restorative scroll for minor aches and pains.
Your wounds?
There's also
Your wounds?
lesser restoration.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a scroll of Revivify over there?
If only. I'll keep an eye for it, she says.
Oh, Bo's not over by them. I was just saying that out loud. He walked
No,
off
not
to.
Revivify. She motions to another scroll. This one is not so much for jumping, but for catapulting. He has one of those. The book. There's an assortment, a small assortment of what appear to be grimoires, but they look sturdier. The pages feel thicker. You can almost feel a magic emanating from them. And then there are some that are a little more standard looking, still kind of more endurance ready, but definitely simpler. She has a few of those. And then as you're looking at the book, she points out as well, she says, I actually just recently found this, and she pulls out this really dusty, kind of worn looking tome. It's thin, but it is well used. Almost all the pages written in. And she says, this is a diary that I came across, in fact, on some of my travels. It is a diary of an incredibly wise man, very skilled in the arcane arts. Am I right to guess, sir, that you are also of that type?
I like to dabble, you are correct.
Excellent. Yes, this diary, what type of arcane is your specialty?
I prefer bardic pursuits, personally.
I see. This man himself was not a bard, but I have heard bards and wizards go hand in hand very often. Amazing tales that they can tell. This was a wizard, in fact. I think some of his spells are even in here. Incredible. But just his words alone, the stories stories and the life that he lived, amazing.
I like you. And then he's just going to keep going. So what's over one of these?
Thank you. And she shows you there really isn't very much else.
What do they have?
So the clothing area, there are a few empty mannequins, and then one mannequin that is draped in this very sad looking, kind of warped and worn cloak that has a series of patches all across it that they too look worn, but each one doesn't look like it belongs to the actual kind of grayish, purplish cloak itself. It has these kind of sporadic looking colorful patches on it. And she says, this, I know it looks very drab, but someone like you, I think, could make it look phenomenal just for your presence in it. Because you are great. This can do many useful things, and I'm sure you would do something amazing with every useful thing on it.
Is that the only thing that's over there?
It is.
Oh.
No, the last thing you pass are a series of potions. One of which, as you pass by, what is Snow's favorite smell?
His favorite smell is cinnamon.
And as you were passing by, looking at these things, and then heading back towards where Bo had gone, you passed by this wafting smell of autumn and pie and cinnamon goodness that just wafts right up your nose as you're walking past this small shelf with a couple of little vials on it. Fate note, we don't have a lot here, by the way, but what we do have is very special. This one over here, actually, and she kind of leans in close to you, Snow. She says, this one is actually Filter of Love. And she puts it back down. But this one is one of my favorites. And she lifts this round little bottle with this almost golden looking liquid in it. And she says, this is what I like to call a buzz ball. If you like to have a party, this is your friend. And that's where you can smell the cinnamon coming from.
Delicious.
Highly recommend. Then she spots you, Bo, heading towards the curtain. She scurries in your direction. And actually, very
I feel like
dramatically...
if all that was happening, he would have already been past that curtain at that point.
Did you just go straight
Yeah, he went
into-
straight there. He
Oh,
heard.
sorry.
Yeah, he didn't pay attention to what they were doing. He just went straight for the curtain. Anything that could be of strong merit might not be out in the open.
Fair enough. You go behind the curtain while Miss Fate, Lady Fate, is talking to the others, and you see some more sparse shelves. One up against the wall. You see a book, like a half bookcase. All of this is hidden behind the wall and then the curtain. There's just kind of a mustiness on this side. One thing stands out. You see this little silver raven sitting on the shelf.
I pick it up and look at it.
You are looking at this little silver raven. It almost seems like when you look into its eyes, like it looks right back at you, as if it were hoping to understand you.
Alright, he's gonna continue holding on. Actually, I don't know if it registers anything. Is there any wording or anything like that? Like, is there any labels, either what it was standing on or on it itself?
It doesn't have any like wording necessarily. It does have like a little on the bottom of it, like where it sits. There's like a little, like a notch, as if maybe it sat on something at some point. But otherwise, it seems like not much.
Can I investigate the
first level.
bird?
Sure, give me an Arcana check.
Nat 1.
Awesome.
That's a bird right there.
It's a bird.
That's a bird. I will say, you do know it's a raven.
So he's gonna continue holding on to it and then see what else is back here.
There isn't much. You see, the only other thing that's really there is this mirror that's in pieces. And just as you're going towards it, the curtain pulls aside, almost in that like hissy kind of like all of a sudden there's light kind of way, because it's darker back here behind the curtain in the wall. And there is Lady Fate looking around, spots you, spots what's in your hand, and says, "Oh, you found the Silver Raven! Oh, wonderful! You seem the type who might be drawn to that kind of the deeper, the more in tune with other levels of the arcane. You know what I mean?
What is it?
That is a Silver Raven. But it's not just any Silver Raven. This Silver Raven is actually more like a totem. And when you activate it, you in fact will have a raven with you. And this raven can in fact follow commands, such as passing messages along for you.
And how much is a silver raven?
That is also a fantastic price of only 600 gold pieces.
And then, do you have any books? I'm sorry, I kind of walked away when you were talking with everyone else. So book-wise, do you have any of those?
Yes. Right this way.
Are they all gonna
And
be
she'll bring you-
600 gold pieces?
No. I try to price everything fairly, and I know 600 does seem low for the amazing arcane wonders you'll find in here, but I do try to be fair. I do also have some... So, for our wizard friends, are you a wizard? Are you a student, a scholar type?
Yes.
Perfect. And she'll half usher you out back towards the books and scrolls area. And one thing you note is that every section that she's brought you guys to has a different color of the floor. Like, as if it were to denote, right? So like a yellow section and like a blue section that she's organized. So back over to the books, and she points out the same ones she's told Snow about, which are essentially some arcane grimoires and then some enduring spell books, a little sturdier than just a standard spell book.
And how much are these? He has. Well, he's gonna start with like he's gonna ask for the prices of all the grimoires that she has.
Well, I happen to have 3 of these beauties here. She points to the arcane ones. She says each one of these are 1,500 apiece. These smaller ones here, good for beginning scholars. Maybe that's a little. I don't mean to offend you. If you are well in your studies, I am so sorry. These are just for beginning studies. These are only 150 apiece.
How big? How big are they overall? Like, how big would they like fit in your hand?
It's like a standard book size. It's not those like little ones. It's like a, you know.
Do you have any ones that are basically this type but like more pocket sized?
Not currently, but if I know there's a market for it, I can keep an eye out.
All right. And how long does it take to stock something up if you're keeping an eye out?
Well, I do a lot of the finding myself, so it's very difficult to say.
All right. Well, then,
Sometimes
you know,
I'll
the
find
standard size can work fine then.
Excellent.
You say it was an enduring, right?
Yeah, that would be
wait,
an
so
enduring.
so with this, do you also have any focuses?
Arcane focus. Do you not have? Did something happen to yours?
Yeah, I accidentally left on a wagon that we used to get over here, and the guy was very misunderstanding, so we had to. I don't know if I can get it back anytime soon.
No.
Tragic.
Oh, that's terrible. Oh, I hope you're not kicking yourself over it. Like, it could happen to anyone. Just, it's a simple mistake. It's a simple mistake. It's okay. So I don't carry a lot of the, how do I say this? There are some more standard items. I tend to carry ones that I've found that are a little more out there. So I don't have a lot of typical kinds of focuses that you might be looking for.
What? So wait a minute. If I get a book and a is there like a bundle deal that we can kind of like put it together at like a discounted rate?
I'd be able to do something like that. I just don't have the focus at the moment.
Oh, you have none of them.
Hold on a second. And she runs back behind the counter, and you hear a little, like, you hear the beat of like wood hitting wood, and then it goes quiet for like 5 minutes. Give me a moment. You hear that same sound again, little flap, as she pops back up from behind the counter, and then she leans forward on the counter, and she kind of has this apologetic look on her face. I'm so sorry. Honestly, I've thought about having some more of the more standard items. It just doesn't seem to fit the feeling of the shop, and I don't want to lose, you know, who I am and what my family does. It's really important to us.
Don't you think, in a way, it would fill in the shop, though? Like, it would really give it a sense of being full.
Maybe. I've thought about it. I have thought about it. And, you know, this is just another reminder that there's always room for growth. I just don't have it at the moment. You know, if my other shipment ever arrives, then maybe I can,
Is something
make
happening
sure
to your
that I get
shipments?
some more.
Are your shipments having difficulties?
The most recent couple have. I've found some stuff. I've set up some caravan shipments coming through, and you know, to get them here to Grati Minot. But the last couple have been very slow.
Do you have like a designated like person that does these shipments, or is it just like standard restocking type shipment type things? Like you don't
Through
have
the
like
city, they help out with that. I am a resident.
okay, so it's not like a private carrying services that you're just using whatever comes into here.
Mostly, yeah. I mean, all of them tend to go through one of the major cities. If you're going to use something like that, it'll go through Drenfell, probably through Hazelford, come down to us. But the last few that have been coming through, well, they were slow, and I've heard some complaints, honestly, that
Well-
some things haven't even arrived.
To your knowledge, and I mean, admittedly, this might be bad for business, but do you know of any other stores within Grati Minot that might have a focus thing that I mentioned?
You can check Oracles. It's another magic shop. They have more of the standard
And where is Oracle's?
other side where I am, and just like across,
Okay, so we
heading
just
back towards
go back.
residential.
towards. Okay, so it's just right here in this place. All right. Well, do you guys have everything you want from here?
I have a question, dear Lady Fate. What is the price for these two potions, the Buzzball and the Filter of Love?
The buzz balls are 30 gold each, and the filter is 90.
Delightful. And the Diary of the Wizard with the fantastic stories. I do like fantastic stories, as I can tell you do as well.
I'm a big fan of stories. And when the ones who write them down and they have them to share with everyone else just forever, so good. The diary is going to be 100.
It's only
It
100.
does come with some bonuses.
Bo's gonna lean over. Snow, do you have 100?
No.
Well, actually, do you buy things off of people?
Oh, good question. I do have some things.
Oh?
It sounds like a telemarketing thing or something. Oh, I have things. Oh, I buy things.
That would speak to the business owner.
I am a person who carries stuff.
You don't say.
With me, in fact.
I'm already
Snow is
intrigued.
going to reach into his backpack and pull out a small crystal and say, just out of curiosity, how much would you say this is worth?
What is it?
Question
It is a
really
shard
quickly.
of dark focus.
Did she leave
Wait,
that
you have a
medallion sitting
focus?
out on the counter?
Yes.
Is she facing Viola right now?
Oh boy.
No,
Oh boy.
Not specifically.
Okay,
She's focused on
Viola's
Snow
gonna
and
like
it's
put it
crystal.
on and just like look at her and try to read her thoughts.
It might require attunement.
Viola's
it
gonna
does.
put it on and just look at
It
her kind
requires
of like
attunement.
this.
This is her first time using a magical item.
Nothing happens.
Feel the power.
Maybe you just gotta
Squint
squint
harder.
more.
Does Bo see her making this face?
Wait.
Everyone but Snow can give me a perception check. Well, I guess it's Viola and Bo. I mean, not Viola. Oh, wow.
Stan was standing right next to me, so she might
That's
just...
24.
I got a 15.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound too hard.
Bo, you missed the worst of your constipated face, but you do catch it eventually as Stan is just watching as the face goes from like a normal, just kind of like observant eye raise to just this glaring, concentrating look as she's staring at Fate.
Are you trying to make that work?
Yeah, I think she's a liar. I don't hear anything.
No. No. When it comes to arcane things, to magical things, sometimes the items themselves need to get to know you as you need to get to know them. And spending time with them allows you to access that which they have within them. Otherwise, just anybody could pick it up and use it. And where's the fun in that?
Seems pretty fun to me. Viola's gonna take it off and put it back.
It did look nice on your armor.
Thank you. It really does match well.
Alright, so did Snow tell her what that is?
Yes, he said it's a shard of dark focus.
Wait, what does that do?
She holds her hand out for it. You give it to her?
Yeah.
Okay. As you say what it's called, she stares at it. And it's just a dull looking crystal. It's no bigger than a pinky finger. And she just kind of turns it over in her hand and she says, I'll be honest, I've never seen this before. So where did you find it? What does it do?
That is an entire story in and of itself. And if you ever have time, I would love
I
to
have
tell you the
so
entire
much
tale.
time.
Unfortunately, we don't right now, but we will be back. I can guarantee that. Or at least I will, because you have a lot of really fascinating things here. But I do know what it does, and I can tell you that quickly enough. So you can charge this crystal with certain types of magic, specifically evocation, only up to a certain level, of course, not too powerful spells. But you could attempt that, but it probably wouldn't work. And then, of course, you can use the shard to hold the spell within it and then cast it from that at a later time. However, not very useful for me. For one reason, I don't specialize in evocation, but also this is a little bit more unique, a little bit more of the dark, hence the name. So it's not super easy for everyone to be able to use it. But it is a curious little item, isn't it? Certainly caught my eye.
Wait,
I had
so
a feeling it would catch yours.
so can it be used as an arcane focus?
It is not an arcane focus.
Okay, it just has it in its name.
It can hold spells that if you can already cast them, but you can't use it to cast spells unless you already have them.
I see. Yeah, so how much
I really
would that give?
specified. She looks at it in her palm, and she looks back at you, and she says, "This does sound like it has an amazing story. You also mentioned dark focus. Have you had any trouble with it while you've had it?
No.
Did it give you trouble when
No.
you've used it?"
Well, I haven't used it personally because, as I said, I don't really specialize in evocation. So it's not super useful for me. But I've had it for a while now. I've done my own divination magic on it to discern what it is, how it works, and everything, and I haven't found any problems with it. Otherwise, don't worry, I wouldn't just put it in your hand.
I appreciate that. I really do. I guess dark focus. Most things that involve the dark tend to have some kind of, you know what I mean? The heebie-jeebies
No, I
feeling.
know. Yeah. Doesn't seem to be sentient or anything creepy or anything.
Though some people pay
Correct.
extra for creepy things.
It's true. I would see it as a very eclectic item. If you ever have people with more unique tastes, perhaps even someone who didn't want to use it themselves, but there are a lot of rich people in this city who would very much like to have something to have on their mantelpiece and show how much money they have.
You make a fair point. And she seems to be kind of hemming hawing over it. Give me a persuasion check.
19.
Okay.
Who's good at that?
I see that. She looks back up at you, and you see a little smile on her face. And she says, "This is not common for someone to walk into my door and bring me things. How did this get here faster than the things I found? It's insane."
I'm just good at that.
Clearly. Well, give me a moment. And she doesn't leave, but she kind of turns to the other part of the desk where her little change counter and there's some parchment and she's writing something quickly, kind of jotting down a little bit of what you've said, some of her own notes in this very quick chicken scratch. And she looks back at you and she says, "How much did you want for it?"
Well, I asked you first what you thought it was worth.
Evocation. Fairly basic, fairly simple. It stores up to just a certain strength of the arcane. How many charges did you say it had again?
3.
Okay, 3 charges. Consequences to using these spells? Have you noted any?
I have not.
Okay. No consequences.
Except for saving energy. So,
Okay, let's see. I'd be willing to give you 115 for it.
wait. So you think something that could store magical energy in it is not at least worth half of what this bird can do?
I mean, well, you have to understand. This is new. It's limited in ways. It does have quite a story behind it. But I get a sense from it, and I've been doing this for a little while. It looks like it might even be maybe part of something bigger. So maybe if there was, if we could see where it originally came from and we had like the source, this seems like it might be part of something else, just a fragment.
Well, in that case, maybe I'll hold on to it and he'll take it back from her. And perhaps I will come across the larger piece in my travels.
It's possible. It's possible. 130?
I mean, I would be open to. I suppose I would be open to a trade.
Trade for what?
No, you would laugh. You would laugh if I suggested it.
I hear all kinds of stories, and I like interesting items in my shop. What are you thinking?
Well, it's funny that you would say that, because what I am thinking about is something that would allow me to know what others are thinking about.
How do you mean?
Your medallion of thought.
Oh. She looks over back where Viola is near that medallion.
I just know
That
from
is
my
a-
travels. I understand the enchantment, but I do know from my travels that that's a little bit more common a thing than this. As you have said, you've never even seen one of these before. Whereas I have heard of other items that allow you to cast detect thoughts. That's something that I can do without an item.
Roll a persuasion.
Give him advantage. He's doing a good job.
He is doing.
Do I get advantage?
I'm gonna roll and see. High or low?
High.
Roll with advantage.
So the first one was a natural 1, which is why I really wanted advantage. The second one was a natural 20, which is my third of the night. To make up for that one
Snow is
session that
on
I had like
fire.
6 nat 1s.
Okay.
This is what Snow is good at.
She looks at you, and she looks over at the medallion, and she looks back at you, and as if she's in a moment she's afraid you're really gonna walk away, she says, okay.
How about this? That switch and a promise that I will return and tell you the story behind it.
And bring lunch when you do.
It's a deal.
Who's got a date?
That's not a deal. That's a date.
She goes over to the counter. She very delicately lifts the medallion, very differently than how she held it when she was showing it to Viola. And she brings it back to the countertop. And she takes a moment to nicely wrap and package it in this cute little pouch, tie it off, almost hesitantly hands it to you, but then holds out her hand for the shard.
He hands it to her very dramatically, presents it.
And she takes it and she's staring at it and she says, I'm very glad that you are also clearly a good businessman. It's always nice to work with someone else who really understands you. So I'm glad that you find this to be a reasonable exchange.
It was my pleasure to do business with someone as lovely as yourself.
Is there anything else I can help you all with?
Well, do you have any quails, actually?
She looks below her counter, kind of scanning, eyeing, stops a moment. One last.
Is there anything special about that one, or is it just a quail?
It's just my spare quill, I'll be honest.
You can
Alright.
borrow mine if you want it.
Oh, well then, I guess. Unless you're going to include it in the sale of a book.
Were you purchasing a book?
I would like to purchase this one. Is the grimoire thing in his hand?
The Enduring Spellbook?
Yeah, that one.
Sure. It's not a problem.
Alright, then if you want to include that in here, and then... Yeah, did you two plan on getting anything?
Stan will take the diary. Buy the diary.
Cool.
Are you taking it or are you buying it?
No, she's gonna buy it.
She steals it.
Bo, how much? So you're spending at 150 right now. Is that what
Yeah.
How much do you have total?
172.13.
Give me a perception check.
15?
15. You're doling out you're doling out what you need for the Enduring Spellbook, and you're not sure why. You're looking in, and it just looks like it looks a little light. Just it looks like, and there's no specific reason why it might be. You know exactly where you keep your gold. You know where you keep your money, and it just seems like not what you thought the amount left over would be. Maybe
Okay.
maybe it's not, I don't know. Maybe you're just there's so much arcane going on in here. Maybe it's distracting, but it seems light.
So how much does he have left on him after this?
10 gold.
Okay.
She thanks you for the stories. Thanks you for the anticipated stories. Leaves you be.
Alright,
Where are y'all off to?
Well, do you guys care if I make one more stop at that other place she mentioned, and then we can go to where Nora might be?
As they
What time
are
of day is
leaving,
it?
Snow will grow a carnation from his staff and present it to Fate.
She looks at it and looks at you and pauses a moment, smiles, and she accepts it. And she places it right beside her little notes that she took about the shard. She thanks
Until
you
next
for it.
time.
Hopefully very soon. Viola, you'd asked what time of day?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's still morning, I believe. I think you guys got up. You were taking your time, but still, it's probably late morning.
Morning, like close to
Nearing
noon, I assume.
noon. Nearing noon, yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with going over to the other store.
Do you two have any issue with that?
As long as it's quick.
Yeah, I'll just ask. I mean, unless you guys have things you want to look for.
I mean, if we're going to a store, I always want to look.
So as we're walking over there, so Snow, you had a chance to look at those things again since we left that area then?
Yes, that's what I was doing while I was in a crate for that entire ride.
So what are
It
the
was very
other
bumpy.
what are the other two things do?
So the other one is Ascending Stone, which is what I already assumed, but I have confirmation it's Ascending Stone. Not sure to who, so that's very exciting. Yeah, who knows? Who knows what might happen there? Could be talking to anyone. But the other one is an Asat's Eye, so it replaces. You lose an eye. I got you covered.
Oh, you didn't think that could also be? Well, I mean, I guess maybe if people probably lose eyes quite a bit, so that might be a little bit more common.
Yeah, the other one I couldn't use. This one, hopefully we won't, but might one day.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Well,
Imagine
losing
losing
an
an
eye
eye
hurt.
would
Have an
hurt.
eyeball.
But here's the thing. You said that you could already do the magic that's coming from that necklace, so why did you?
Said I could, in theory.
Oh.
It's something that I know how to learn to do, if I wanted to take the time to do it. However, I don't have to take the time to do it now, so it's a lot better.
And Stan, you have an interest in this wizard guy? His writings?
It's always good to learn more about places and things. Understanding stories of the world, I feel it could be a good thing.
I mean, I don't disagree. Do you mind sharing the book when you're not reading it?
Only if you share what you found in that safe the other day.
Well,
Ooh.
share in what capacity?
Usually sharing means giving what you had to someone else for a short period of time. Or if it's sharing of information, then usually the information shared is equal in weight and value.
I can share the information, but I can't permanently share
Sharing's
the
not permanent.
things inside. Meaning I won't have them for too much longer.
Then you better share quick.
I put everything that was in that safe back in the safe, and it's still back in our bunk. So when we get back, I can show you.
Yes.
I didn't want to keep toting around a safe with me, as you might imagine.
Makes sense. It's not very practical.
No. You share that, and I'll share this.
All right, will do.
So I have a question for you, since we're asking questions and sharing things. How on earth did you run up a wall?
Speed and fortitude.
No, that's what?
With the,
There's definitely magic that can make you do that, but I did not see you cast something.
it's all in the
You did.
boots.
You climbed a wall another time, too. When we were back at the hovel. Climbed right up to the roof of it. Not a problem.
Yeah, I was keeping an eye on Snow.
Do you have special
Thank
shoes?
you. I appreciate it, and I do very much appreciate it. I mean that, because you retrieved my staff, and I can't repay you for that. So I do very much appreciate it, but I am very curious. Is this something you've just always been able to do?
For most of my life, yes.
Can you teach me?
That would be difficult.
I think if you're going to teach anybody, then stay in should get taught first.
I'd say you should let it drop, but I'm the one doing the dropping.
Staying would probably be a bit
True.
too armored up, maybe.
I mean, I don't wear more than you do, though, so...
Yeah. So, I mean, that might be a little... Well, I don't know. I can't make I can't make too much I'm not necessarily a
Somebody
teacher.
teach you? Or
Not exactly.
meaning
Meaning I'm primarily self-taught.
that you just woke up one day and were like, today I'm going to learn how to run up vertical surfaces.
Crazy youths.
Now that I can believe.
Well, I really want to learn because that's incredible. So,
Well, there's other things out in the world that are more incredible, I assure you.
I mean, sure, but why not collect all of them?
I mean, you can go invisible.
That's very easy to do. And so are you pursuing the arcane now? I didn't know that was something that you were interested in, but you bought a spell book.
Yes, I have been pondering taking that a little bit more seriously. So, yes.
Well, invisibility is not super difficult. So that's honestly one of the least interesting things that one can do with illusion magic. Although there are more interesting versions of it, but those are a lot more difficult to master.
I see.
Also, you're so stealthy, you don't really even need to be invisible.
I didn't say I was gonna learn how to be invisible. I was just saying you can be invisible. What about you, Veal? I saw you were trying to make that pendant work.
Well, she said it could read minds if you were wearing it, and I wore it, and I tried to read her mind while she was talking to Snow, and I heard nothing. But Stayan said apparently you have to get to know magical jewelry before it does anything.
Well,
And apparently I don't know that necklace very well.
it's not just jewelry, but it's also doesn't just because it's jewelry doesn't mean you have to have it for a while before you use it. But it's also not just jewelry.
Well,
Some
that
things
just
just
seems
take a
like
little
a
bit of
waste of time
concentration
to me.
For example, and so he could do this as a bonus action, he can make his tattoo change shape, size, location, as long as it's all one thing. He's gonna move his tattoo to be like a little dragon that goes like around his eye. It's like, for example, this you have to attune to, but obviously it's not jewelry.
I don't think I want one of those, but it is cool.
Well, there's all kinds of tattoos you can get in the world.
I don't think I want any of those. What is that? What is that? Is it just for fancy so you can like look extra scary sometimes if you put it up on your face?
I mean, I could just put it wherever I want, and then he's gonna move it to the back of his hand.
That's
Every
so
6
much
seconds,
fun.
this thing just moves.
Yeah, I mean, not all
Is that all it
tattoos.
does?
Not all I mean, this is how it looked like. Bronze stone.
Oh.
Yeah, so this one's probably more of an aesthetic one, but there's ones for armor. Instead of having to wear armor, you just have a tattoo and then wear comfortable clothing.
That would
I
be
mean,
nice.
my armor is really comfortable, so.
I mean, if
You
you're
are covered in wool, how is that
if you're
possible?
adjusted to it, then that's fine.
I wouldn't be able to move in that.
Yeah,
You learn the more you wear it.
Hmm.
It's just like I wouldn't feel comfortable wearing a cloak because I never wear a cloak, but I wear my armor all the time.
I mean, you have that sashy thing. You got like
That is true.
you got like a
But
quarter
if I
cloak.
wore it without the armor, is what I'm meaning. Just the sash, no armor. It feels weird. I'm not comfortable. Like when I didn't have my breastplate earlier,
You would look.
when it was in that temple.
Yeah, but I thought you really liked like clothing because remember back with Parula, or you were very interested in her dresses and stuff like that. Couldn't you
I do
wear more your
love-
style if you weren't wearing armor all the time?
Yes, but I don't know if you've ever fought in a dress before. It's not very practical.
It can be if you
Not
got the right
necessary.
tattoo.
Pretty, but not practical.
It's true. It is quite difficult.
Have you fought in a dress
Is there a
before?
story there?
I'll never tell.
Well, I don't know. I never got enough.
Sassy, not Viola.
I don't know. I've never gotten into a fight in a dress before, but I imagine it wouldn't have been too much more difficult.
Well,
Maybe
we
one day you can
find you a
try and
dress.
find out.
I mean,
We can address this problem.
I would hope that a fight wouldn't ensue if I was wearing such a thing, but I
Oh,
don't
it's
know.
fine. Then I'll let you spar with Viola.
The occasions,
I seem to like doing that.
The occasions for wearing that to necessitate wearing such a thing is very slim.
Who knows? We may find the occasion.
But if the
We'll just
situation
have to
comes
wait
up-
and see.
Don't you want to be prepared?
I mean, I've had a situation come up before and I was prepared, but I didn't get into a fight.
So,
Did
the
your
Oracle-
past that you guys are running around in dresses?
Oh, by the way, Viola, do you have that my old water skin still?
Yeah, it's in my room, and the blood in there is still fresh.
Oh, all right. I would like to have it back for a bit.
When you
we
say
return.
when you say it's still fresh, do you mean like it's as fresh as when you first grabbed it, or are you just saying it's not solid?
Well, I didn't look at it when I grabbed it. I just picked it up, and it was closed, and I brought it with me. But there's no little dried bits anywhere, like up in the cap or in the little top part that you drink out of. So
Did you try drinking it?
I did not.
Oh.
I just checked because me and Lear and I'm forgetting her name.
Kiara?
Not
Kiara?
Kiara. Yeah. Kiara were talking about Captain Nora, and they mentioned something about her being like covered in blood, and so then it made me think about the blood pool in the cave, and so I went over and picked up the water skin and just looked to see if there was still blood in it and if it was just what it looked like. And yeah,
That's very unusual. That's concerning.
I don't like it.
Why? You know
With
how
everything
long
that's
it takes for
happened
blood to start
recently-
solidifying?
Yes, and it's not that long.
in my experiences, it dries up pretty quickly.
Well, it depends on the
Does.
amount of oxygen that gets inside.
Even still,
Yeah,
a
but-
water skin isn't so airtight that it would blood would become solid much sooner.
It's worth taking a look at, and I would like to do that when we get back, obviously.
Yeah,
Now,
so
I will say,
Right.
I can have a tendency to be forgetful, so make sure you remind me, or else I'll just go to bed and forget.
I thought you were gonna say you forgot to put the lid on it.
No, I did put the lid on it. I do know that. Otherwise, I think it would be all over the floor in our room right now.
Hmm.
Oh, that would not
I
be good.
will remember to remind you.
Yeah.
Stan, could you remind me later to remind her?
Well, how about this? When
Mr.
Stan.
Bo, can you remind me to remind Snow?
Well,
to
yeah,
remind
I was
me?
gonna say when we get back, I'll take Stan and I'll show her what's inside the vault, and then you take Snow and you can have a little blood party.
Please don't call it that.
It's just what I've always wanted.
Yeah, if only you had a dark
Forget the Oracle
focus
yet?
to go with that blood party.
Don't let me interrupt your blood party.
Oh, actually, so you said we don't know who's on the other end of that sending stone. Is there a way of finding out though?
I was thinking about asking.
Asking like putting it into the stone, or are you just saying like ask around?
No, I was going to use the stone and ask who's on the other side.
You want to do it now?
How do you use a rock
Depends,
to
are
talk
we
to
there
people?
yet, or...
This doesn't take that much longer after all this fantastic conversation. If you were
I was
looking
gonna
for
say, if it's
something
still
that
in
was
the mercantile district.
yeah, no, it's
I mean,
just I was
Mercantile
enjoying your
District could be
conversation.
quite big.
Didn't she say it was right across the
True.
street?
It is,
Well, she said it was on the other side, so
On the
it's-
opposite side of where
Oh,
she
gotcha.
is.
yeah. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to have half this conversation.
which I realized
I figured we just stopped in the middle of the
Yeah.
street.
And to start talking about blood.
Did anybody stop and listen to our conversation?
Doesn't appear so. Looks like
Cool.
people are generally minding their own business, going back and forth.
I-
But if you were anticipating another building that was nearly as ostentatious as the Not Mundane Arcane, you would walk right past this one. This one was much more typical of the other structures around it. A very standard wooden building, the name on a placard, just the Oracle with this little kind of carved out looking crystal ball looking object. When you enter, it seems to have an assortment of magical goods. It also looks a little bit sparse, in all honesty, but it has more standard things. You also don't immediately see someone to begin speaking to, but it doesn't look like
Bo
you
starts
would
ringing
walk
his
in and
bell.
kind of observe.
Just carry that around. As though you...
Hi, it's coming handy.
Vioola's gonna immediately
bell?
start walking away from him.
Stay in
No,
those
I'm
two.
running.
Yeah, Snow as well. Snow has a couple things in mind though that he wants to look for, so
You
he's
go
not
in
just
for
going
them
to
to
go up
stop.
and stand into a corner.
What were you specifically looking for? As no one immediately comes running, Bo, as you're ringing this bell.
Focuses and components.
Bag of
There's
holding
definitely-
and a hat of disguise.
Okay, you are a little bit out of luck, though. But component pouches, definitely easy enough to find. And as you're kind of sorting through the one you're looking for, spells you might have in mind, you hear this kind of shuffling, and around from a back door, you see this elderly gentleman coming into the room. He has this long beard, all white and gray. His hair short on top, all white and gray. His skin sunken and wrinkled, deep laugh lines. And he's hobbling in on this crooked-looking cane, this wooden cane. He comes in, his eyes are squinting, he's looking about, stops in your general vicinity, but still somehow looking just a little bit past you, potentially, and then starts shuffling towards you, Bo, kind of nodding, a half-toothless smile growing on his face as he gets closer. Find everything?
Well, I found one thing. He has the component pouch, I guess, in his hand. Do you also have any
Good.
Thank you. Do you also have any arcane focuses on hand? Are they like in a backroom shelf or something like that? I don't see anything out here.
He starts to hobble past you, nodding. Of course. And he doesn't go much further than you are, and he touches the shelf next to the components, and it kind of just glitters a little bit, and then readily available in front of you, you see this once empty shelf has a small assortment, but varied, of some arcane focuses. There's some small glass balls. Oh, what was the other one that they have? They have like crystals, they have pendants,
Wands.
some have wands or something like that.
The pendant ones, are they on a chain?
Not at the moment.
Are there any that have a chain?
Hey! No, it looks like the pendant is what is for sale, and so that is what is on display. But there might be chains elsewhere, or it might come with a chain, perhaps. Maybe something simple.
Do any of these come with a chain by chance? I said, do any of these come with a chain?
Do any of them bring you pain? No, I wouldn't sell you something like that. Oh, no.
Chain.
Very safe. A mane?
He's going to reach into his bag and he's gonna pull out a very simple, like, necklace. And he's gonna gesture to the chain part of it. A chain, and he's gonna put it back into his bag.
He nods his head and he picks up one of the pendants, and he looks at you and says, "You're going to need a chain for this, like that one."
Okay. How much for these things together?
Between for the components and then also the focus.
Yeah, and he's gonna take the crystal, because can any of them be fitted to a chain, essentially?
I don't think there's limitations as far as what you do to carry your arcane focus. I'm not sure exactly how they specify, honestly.
I just didn't know if
I
any
don't
of them
think
had
there's
like
specifically.
okay, he's gonna take something that's like crystal, I guess. Is there any of them that look dark in color? He's gonna aim for a dark color and first, and then low.
The darkest one you can find is probably that same kind of dull gray looking tone as that crystal shard that Snow had. They're not terribly dark.
Okay,
As if you need the clairvoyance to see.
then yeah, he'll take that. What color? What shape was in that one?
A crystal versus like some other pendant.
Oh, okay, so it was a crystal that you were saying is that color.
Sure.
So he has the crystal one, and then he has the components.
It's your standard price. As he'll take them from you, and he'll very slowly toddle towards his own counter. And he says when he gets there too, as he's telling you the standard price, he tells you, if you want to wear it, you're going to need a chain. I can tie it. I have some leather.
That
I
works.
can tie it for you. Oh,
Yes.
good. Give me a moment. And you watch him pull out a very sharp tool. And he kind of sets up a little area for himself with his very shaky hands. He's laying out this little pad, this little mat, and he's kind of making this little space where he can do this for you. So you're watching as his very shaky hands are beginning to use a very sharp tool. That it itself kind of has a glow to it, as if it had some kind of arcane energy about it. And as he's bringing his shaky hand to create whatever puncture it needs for the actual wrap, the moment that it touches, it's hitting exactly the spot he needs. As soon as he pulls his hand away, it's very shaky again. And it just takes a moment, and then he has this prepared for you. This on a it's not a metal chain, but he does have like a leather something that he can pull out and let you use to tie it.
All right.
Hands it over to you with very shaky hands. I'm sorry I couldn't give you a very handsome chain. A handsome young man like you should have one. I have more coming soon. Come back and I can upgrade that for you.
All right. And I know you keep saying it's the standard, but what is the standard we're talking about here?
That's the DM doesn't know and doesn't have access to the internet.
Okay, well then what Bo's going to do is he's going to take, because you said he only has 10 gold, so he doesn't even have like the silver that he had on hand before.
How much silver did he have?
13. So I guess it's basically another gold and 3, I think.
Yeah. The silver is there. It's the
Okay.
gold that seemed a little odd.
So he's going to put the gold, the silver, the fancy cup, and the silver knife that he found from the temple place down. And he's going to be like, this for that.
He picks up the cup, pushes it back towards you, as if he doesn't understand.
Trade?
I'm sorry. Maybe if you're not from our area, so when we trade, we use gold and silver.
Yes. I have gold and I have silver up there, but I'm also adding these as like a sell.
I could give you. Would you like to sell these to me?
Yes.
That's very thoughtful of you. He picks up the teacup again. Oh, my wedding day. What a beautiful day. And he begins going on a short tirade about a beautiful wedding at the Gishari shores, just as sunset is hitting, and then he and his wife have their first kiss as a married couple, and he goes on for a few minutes unless you stop him.
So how much is that worth? The memory is included with it?
Oh, memories are priceless, but a cup like this, beautifully, I will give you a gold for it.
A gold?
Gently puts the cup down. Looks very well made.
Okay, and the knife?
Through all of his old man talk and gibbering and small tirades into stories. So you're selling the cup, the knife, what else?
Those are the 2 things.
He'd probably offer you like a gold and 8 silver for, or he would give that to you to have these things that remind him of his wife.
Does that balance
And
out the
first
cost of
meal
everything
that she
else?
cooked for him. What was that?
Does that balance out the cost of what he's trying to buy?
A crystal is 10 gold pieces in the player's handbook.
What about
Okay.
a
That would
component?
be the rest of what you had.
Yeah.
You don't need a component
component-
pouch if you have an arcane focus. You don't require both. A component pouch is 25.
Well, some things don't they consume things, and then you do need it.
If
Right.
if the spell has a cost component, such as like Hero's Feast, for example, requires a chalice worth a certain amount of gold, or Revivify that uses a diamond worth 300. But that doesn't come with a component pouch. A component pouch allows you to have all of the little components instead of something like a crystal or rod, staff, or wand.
Oh,
If you have an
I see.
arcane focus, you don't need the component pouch.
Could just kind of push that aside.
Are you still
Yeah.
selling the cup then and the knife?
Yeah, I can still sell them. So that gets you said it was gold and
Gold, 8 silver.
8 silver?
Got what you needed?
Yes.
He takes his new cup in his very shaky hands and starts putting it below his counter as he's no longer looking at you, but he is in the middle of a story of that first meal that his wife cooked for him. A succulent pig. I've never had something so delicious in
He's
all
gonna-
my days. You know, once there was.
He's gonna turn and see if the others are good to go.
No, Snow is still looking around. He's got a couple things he wants to look for.
Oh, other than the hat and the bag of holding?
But he also wants to see if he can find Goggles of Night for Viola.
I'm afraid he would also be out of luck for that.
For all three. Alrighty, then he is done. Unless there is something shiny that catches his eye.
Something shiny.
What potions?
Say.
Or potions. Either one. Or both. He likes a lot of stuff.
I believe it. There's a potion of clairvoyance and a potion of invisibility. A very lovely leathered armor set as well. It has these very tastefully placed metal studs about it. Glamorous. Generally looking pretty high in the price range, but perhaps something to keep an eye on after you guys kill a dragon and steal its hoard.
Alrighty,
All
Snow's
right.
done then.
Alright, shall we go see if we can find Nora's house?
I do believe
I
that was
do
our next.
have one other quick errand, if that's alright with everyone. And for the sake of brevity, if you don't want to RP this is fine. He just wants to sell out his bow and arrows and stuff.
Yes, you did say that. The only thing about that was you said you had like 18 instead of 20 arrows or something.
I shot 2.
Yeah. I don't remember
But
exactly
I
how
cal-
much arrows.
Well, I calculated it. Altogether, it would cost 26 gold pieces and 9 silver.
That sans the 2 extra arrows.
Correct.
You can find either a general store and armor, something like not armor, but you know what I mean.
Sure.
And you can get those sold.
Alrighty.
It shouldn't take you
then-
too much time. I'll figure out what lovely
Well-
character you met.
After he sells those, he is going to buy a bedroll, a water skin, and 50 feet of hempen rope. Altogether is 2 gold and 2 silver. Now to Nora's.
So we're off to Nora.
Yeah.
Supposedly where she
We're
might
off
be.
to see the Nora, the wonderful Nora
Mhm.
Brescia.
As we're walking
thought-
to Nora's, Snow is going to fashion a flower crown out of buttercups, yellow buttercups, and give it to Viola, because it's been a little while since he's gotten to refresh hers.
Thank you so much. She'll put it on top of her other crown.
It just suits you so
Love it.
well. Yellow is your color.
Thank you. We'll have to stop by the stables and see Buttercup when we get back.
How do you know Buttercup won't be out on a mission?
I'm
We just
sure
have
Buttercup
this
goes on so
connection.
many.
I said, I don't think Buttercup is usually sent out on missions.
Well, actually, to that point, when we do leave, are we trying to stick with Buttercup? Is that the decision that's being made here? Or are we gonna go for something that's a little bit hardier?
I mean, see, there's the side of me that loves Buttercup and wants to be with Buttercup when we go on missions because I just can't see myself steering another horse besides her. But there's another side of me that wants to keep her safe. So it depends on what we're doing because I don't like the fact that she was put in so much danger the last time we took her out.
Exactly.
Well, in regards to what we're doing, they did say that we were gonna be without work for a couple of days. Didn't that guard say that to us? Snow?
So,
yes.
So,
Possibly, I don't remember.
with a couple of days basically off, how would you all feel about taking a ride up to Hazelford?
What's in
Only a
Hazelford?
couple days, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's a couple of days.
I guess it
Just-
depends on how long we're not going to have work.
Viola, there's a Walmart there.
There's a Walmart. I haven't been to a Walmart in ages, and Walmart is my favorite store.
Yeah, after
I love Walmart.
they made it like a few days after we left, they started construction, but those gnomes work so fast.
Classic gnomes, am I right?
Those gnomes are the best. They have my heart.
Yeah, so we could check out that.
I mean, I'm all in if there's a Walmart.
Why do you want to go to Hazelford? You don't want the Walmart if I had to guess.
I mean, what makes you think that? They have
Just say why you want to go
Deals.
to Hazelwood.
I'm not going unless you tell me why.
so those things
Even
that
then, it's up for question.
Okay, well, I was about to the things in the safe need to be delivered to Hazelford
How do you know that?
because I was asked to deliver them to Hazelford.
After you got them? Or did you already know that you were supposed to get them?
After I got them, this wasn't like in a dream sequence or anything like
When?
that.
Is this an official mission of sorts?
It is an official mission in regards to I need to officially do it. It's not an official mission in regards to us necessarily being hired by the Guardianship to do it.
So who hired you to do it?
Well, a person I know who runs things around. Well, are you familiar with any of like the shipping companies and stuff like that? Like the private ones, not like the general ones.
Only if it's like super popular. I've been around, but I don't usually check out shipping companies, so.
Alright, well, there is a pretty wide-known one called the Silver Cat. Have you heard of that one?
Have I?
Roll intelligence.
Yeah. 22.
22.
Viola got a 5. She doesn't know anything.
Stan got an 11.
She knows about Walmart, but she doesn't know about shipping.
Just Walmart.
Walmart, no FedEx.
All that money
Stan,
on education
you
for
also-
nothing.
Stan, you've also traveled. You might have heard of it in passing, but it doesn't just strike a chord as if you were very, very familiar. But it makes sense. Some caravan company, probably, sure. No, you have definitely seen their caravans go through in the places that you've been. And they tend to have a lot of, probably because when you've seen them once, you knew them to have a lot of very fun kind of oddities and fun things that interest you when they've passed through. So if you've ever seen one again, you've made note of it. They're a caravan company. They pass people's shipments along. Sometimes they sell their own things. It's pretty cool. They got some cool stuff when they have their own stuff, but they ship things.
Wait, so
They're good
you
at it.
work for the Silver Cat?
I'm not an employee, but the owner and I have some arrangements, I'd say.
You sound unsure.
One moment. I'm sorry. With a 22, I will also say that you would know. He says the owner. You would know that she is a Tabaxi female who goes by the name Helena Fresca. She's a very exaggerated woman. And you are progressing in this walk. You are starting to reach where you anticipate the residence to be.
So you have an arrangement with the owner,
Yeah.
and that is
That-
bring me safes when you find them
No.
by the road.
No, it's more so that she is getting information and searching out information, and in regards, I mean, as payment, she can request favors as they come up on her end. So in order to get the information I need to do the tasks that she asks.
Are you in some sort of trouble, or what is this?
I would never get into trouble.
Insight check.
Okay, well, I know that's not true. I need insight. We are literally in trouble today.
You are welcome to roll if you want to.
That is a 24.
Alright, well I got a 23 without psionic.
Oh, I can add guidance.
Alright, well let's see who's the stronger. Ooh, I got a 6.
Ooh.
3, so that brings me up to 27.
I'm at 29. But I did have to use it now. Dang.
Alright.
Viola and
I mean,
Stan,
I
of
am
course he never
not
gets into trouble.
opposed. I'm
I'm-
not opposed to this. I don't know if we have time right now. We should probably ask first.
Yeah,
But I mean, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with going. I would like to know more because there's a lot to process here. But I mean,
I'm not against telling you more on the road or not
Sure.
here. But
that's fine.
that was part of the things that I wanted to talk to Nora about when I went to Saker's Keep this morning. I was going to ask for a pass to come here, and I was going to ask for permission to go there, but she wasn't there. So here we are, breaking into this area and going to go seek her out in her house.
I really
Speaking
hope
of
she's not
houses.
disappointed. Oh well, we're already here.
And you do come up along a row of buildings that are very similar to one another, side by side. These kind of nearly identical wooden buildings. There's these small strips of grass between each one of them, very townhouse looking. You come up to one that has a placard near it, and you immediately see the name, the last name you're looking for. There's these 2 rows along the sides of them of grassy area that's fenced off with this low iron fence. There's some kind of wilting flowers in those grassy beds. The building's about 2 stories high. The one that you're facing, there's an open window on the second story. There's this still wind chime that's hanging out by the door, just waiting there. It's made of these curving metal pipes. And you see on the wooden plank that that indicated whose home it was. You see the last name Isalin, comma, and you see the letter in common, E.
Is common not what I thought it was? I could have sworn Nora was spelled with an N.
Pretty sure. Maybe it's her father's name, or brothers or sisters.
What if Nora's a
Husband?
part of the name? So it's more like Eleanor.
Like she goes by
Eleanor.
her middle
Yeah.
name.
Eleanor! Her real name is Eleanor!
We figured it out. We're very clever.
You also do note that along this row of these kind of townhouse-looking buildings, you do see someone outside in what appears to be relatively standard watchman attire, just kind of doing a pretty lazy patrol of the area.
If the watchman is here, do you think he's gonna let us just go inside our house?
Well, I mean, hopefully she'll answer the door when I knock. And he walks up to
Yeah.
the door and knocks.
I was gonna say, I think if she doesn't answer when we knock, then we shouldn't probably go inside.
Oh, I was gonna say we can go in through a window.
You want to climb?
Let's see if she answers first. He's already knocked.
You knock, you don't get a response from inside, but it does seem to get the attention of the watchman who was doing this lazy patrol just a few doors down. The person approaches you. You see very quickly that she is female. She's got long black hair kind of pulled into a braid over one shoulder. And you also note she is, over her tan skin on her face, she has these kind of obnoxious looking goggles on that she starts heading your way, stops a moment, kind of fusses with them, then decides to just put them over her head, revealing her eyes. She just has like honey colored eyes as she comes up to the door. I'm sorry, she's not taking any visitors right now.
Did she tell you that, or are you just like saying like nobody here wants visitors?
No, I'm on watch duty right now, and can't just have people walking in. She's Captain Nora is resting.
You're on watch duty because she asked you to watch, or this is just like a general rounds kind of thing?
Both. It was my assignment, but I was told specifically Captain Nora needs some rest.
Bye, Nora.
Sorry?
Well, did you see her today? And then she told you that?
No, I haven't seen her. Captain
You know if
Elikin told
anyone
me
has.
to.
Captain who?
Probably Captain Elikin. He's the captain of the guard. Hence, ta-da. And you do see the gear looks relatively standard, and she does have that brooch, that iron brooch, similar to the other watchmen. But there is a secondary design, a secondary brooch on there with a different symbol indicative of what you imagine is someone who is a guard.
Thank you for your service
Yeah.
to the district.
Yeah, it's a shame because we came a long way and now I kind of had to use the bathroom and I was hoping she was going to have one. Do you know where another one might be? Like bathroom-wise, public or something like that?
Public, towards the mercantile area.
Something like a little bit closer to like around this area?
I'm sorry. It sounds like you're out of luck.
Snow,
But did you need to go
catching
inside for?
on a little bit here. Snow is going to interrupt. I'm sorry. I'm just really curious as to what your goggles do. It looked like you were having trouble with them as you walked up.
Oh, these, yeah, they're experimental. And she lowers them back to her face, and then and they look absolutely ridiculous. The lenses are too thick to be clear, and they're faceted, so they're kind of reflecting the light in these odd rainbows in every like other spot. And then she immediately puts them back up. She says they're experimental from Kepner's command back in the Peace District. They were working on this thing that allows for true sight, which is so cool. I wish I just had it, but thankfully we have technology. It just looks so dumb is the only catch. So since I was on patrol and I was put over here, and it seemed like Captain Elikin had some reservations, and after what I heard, I thought now is a good time to put some big cooler things to the test. So I convinced them to let me use these for my assignment.
Snow is going to like step around her just ever so slightly so that she's no longer facing in Bo's direction so that Bo can sneak off if he wants to.
And Bo will
And Snow
do
is
so.
going to continue the conversation.
But as Bo is about to, he's going to quickly like to them like show off the little dice thing in his hand if anyone wants to link minds. Okay, it looks like Snow and Viola. He's going to spin it real quick. Well, he could still only have 2 people on right now because you can only he can only have as many people as his proficiency bonuses, and it's good for 5 hours. And then he's going to slip off to the side of the house.
All right, give me a stealth check.
Advantage because I'm distracting her.
You're the assisting. Yes, you may
Exactly.
roll with advantage. Not that you need it.
I got 18.
Without a psionic.
I will roll that just
I know that you normally just roll it, and I'll just tell you whether
Yeah.
or not to not.
so I would put it to an unnatural 20.
Yeah, you're fine. You don't need to know. So as she's showing Snow the goggles, and then they like slip for a moment and fall over her eyes again, and she's like shaking her head and like forcing them back up, Bo has this opportunity to slip off to the side, one of the grassy sides of the house. But she's looking back at you. No, what were you saying?
I mean, it's really unfortunate that it doesn't work, but at least this way it doesn't hide your lovely honey eyes. But I do have some arcane abilities and curiosities. Would you mind if I take a look? I'm not going to steal it, don't worry, but could I?
Sorry, they would have my head. First of all,
All right.
I'm on assignment. Second of all, technically it wasn't maybe an official who let me borrow these. You know, right?
It happens. It happens.
Snow, make her some honeysuckle necklace
Um,
to bribe her.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but the captain needs her rest. So I'm told, and so here I am.
No, I know. That's how it goes. It's all very official and to do, but thank you for what you've told us. Very much appreciated. I really hope you get your goggles fixed because that is really cool. And perhaps I could help a little bit with the aesthetic. And he's going to use his staff. Burning through charges with his staff. Thankfully, it's got a lot of them.
Before you do that, roll me persuasion.
Persuasion. Yeah, that's a 10.
She nods and she's appreciative, but she kind of lowers her hand to say like, enough is enough. Appreciate it, but I'm really sorry, guys. Unless you are on assignment in this district or in this area, gonna have to go. And I'm also,
Right.
you came to see your captain? Is she your captain? Your novices? I don't see a little.
She is,
You know?
yes. She asked for us, so we were hoping that she was going to be able to have visitors. But if not, I understand that's how it goes. And he will give kind of like a nod to the others so that we can all start walking away from the house. And he is going to offer a lily to her if she wants it.
She'll accept it.
You
Just
tuck it
kinda
in
like-
right there. It definitely helps distract from the obnoxiousness of the goggles.
I'll think about it when I get properly in front of a mirror. And she does kind of linger in front of the door until you guys are gone before she might begin like patrolling again.
Yeah, we'll walk down the street. And then, Bo, how's it going?
So Bo, you ran off to the side. Their home is like second one in or whatever. You know, if you run to the back and you know you're out of sight. So there are a few other windows. They are not open. It just seemed to be that one up front that was open. Around the far back, there's this small garden area that's fenced in with another part of that short iron gate that leads to a door inside as well. What did you want to do?
There's no back door?
That appears to be a back door.
Oh.
It's just past this little garden gate, and then there's a door that leads to what appears to be inside the building.
I'm gonna try and pick the back door.
Okay, you can roll your
So that's a dirty 20.
listen in. It takes you a minute. It looks like a pretty standard door, but maybe something is just a little bit different. There's a little extra touch of security. It takes you a minute, but then you hear a little click.
He's gonna open it and go inside, and I'm inside the house.
You start to walk inside.
Would you like
give
some
me a-
invisible assistance?
Please, before anything,
Back door's open.
give me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh, come on.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
13.
You start to walk inside and you feel this sudden like shock go all the way up and through your body, like from your feet up to the points of your hairs, like standing on. You end up stumbling backwards, tripping over the garden fence and falling back as something unseen appeared to have shocked you as you attempted to go inside.
Oh, so he didn't go inside, but he's got the door open?
The door's open.
He's going to ram it this time.
Just run through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't get damaged, so...
Give me another Constitution saving throw as you run across that barrier, that threshold.
7.
This time you're straight up launched backwards. You end up over the short gate, smacking against the wooden bench that's out there and kind of fumbling through some flowers. You end up knocking over some small wooden stake that appears to be inside the garden. When you look beside you, you see you've knocked over one of these 2 little like stake markers that are kind of put together like a little cross.
So did he take damage?
No.
Okay, so he's gonna
Did you
grab...
just defile a grave?
But now he's just annoyed, so he's gonna
Oh, no.
grab the stake. There are windows in the back here? Is there a window upstairs?
There is a window. I think there's at least one window in the back here where you are. There was one on the side that you came around.
So the one in the
One
back,
upstairs.
is it like ground floor or upstairs?
Upstairs.
He's going to climb up to that. Does he see anything when he looks through the window?
You appear to be looking just through some drawn curtains. They're maybe open just a touch. And you appear to be looking some kind of like a washroom. You think you see like a tub of some kind. Not occupied. You see some kind of empty tub.
Oh, there is also, it looks like a window in her bedroom too, also on the back. So he's gonna see the tub, see that it's not, and then he's gonna run over to the other window and look through.
You see through that window. So what you can see, Bo, through that window is you're looking across at a desk. Over the desk, you can see portrait, some kind of landscape portrait. If you kind of just peer your head, you can see the side of a bed, like the foot of a bed.
Can you tell if there's feet at the foot of the bed? I guess.
Give me a perception.
Perception 21.
It's very plush. It's a beautiful room, by the way. It is this deep, rich wood. Everything looks very rich. There's not much, but what's there is very nice. And you see this plush bedding that does appear to be drawn up, maybe moved a little bit, like there might be someone in the...
He's going to use the stake and tap on the window.
No response.
In the meantime, since this is the last thing Snow heard, he's going to cast invisibility on himself and head towards the back door.
So I guess as Snow turns out, he's gonna see Bo take the stake and he's just gonna ram it through the window.
Okay. Are you trying at all to be
Oh, no.
stealthy
Oh,
about
no.
this?
Can you be stealthy? I'll try it if I
I
can.
don't know. I just feel like I need
Oh,
to
actually,
say
I know how to
Definitely
muffle
through the
it.
window.
So he's gonna move his cape up, and he's going to puncture that to try and nullify some of the sound through it.
It's still gonna break glass.
Well,
But if the window actually breaks, everyone will hear. Fine.
Yeah, okay. Give me just a strength check.
yeah, this is why I'm also not so concerned with him actually breaking it. So that's a 0.
Actually, roll.
I got a 1.
A nat one.
Yeah, -1.
Noah is
Beautiful.
passing by to head to the back, while Bo is now overhead at the bedroom window, taking the stake, pulling his cape around, and jamming the stake out the window. And not only does he fantastically miss, and just kind of, the stake gets turned upwards and over, he now also manages to lose his balance as Snow is coming past. Snow, you see, once again, Bo's gone. Bo is coming plummeting, not too terribly far from you.
I can't catch you.
Do we see the guard running towards the back of the house?
Y'all are all the way down the street, right?
Well, the back of the house has that nice garden. He'd be landing into some flowers,
Well, this
a
is
flower
on
bed.
the side of the house, yeah?
No, he's behind the house.
On the map, the bottom of the map is the front of the house.
So
Those
so
shorter
on
ends,
the
those are the
side then.
sides. So you're on the side of the house. So you're actually over that grassy bed with the dead flowers in it. So if you fall on those.
Okay.
It'll be
Um,
fine. And Snow will watch.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I didn't
Let's
take
see if
Featherfall. I'm learning from my mistake.
That's like a threat. Where are the ladies right now? Did you say you had walked away?
We had walked away. We probably, as soon as it seemed like the guard wasn't watching us go, I think Stan would have tried to find somewhere to stand a little out of the way and keep an eye on whatever she could see.
Okay. Yeah, at some point, the guard, maybe she seems satisfied and she kind of begins just a short patrol. So she does walk further from the door and apparently does not come running as Bo goes plummeting. That's going to be 8 fall damage as you land on the grass below in this poorly apparently tended with dead flowers. And now on the ground near Snow.
I thought you said the back door was open.
It is.
What the heck are you doing?
It is open. It's also got some kind of ward or something.
Does anybody want to tell me what's going on back there?
Snow is going to go over to the back door and inspect it.
What are you checking for?
Well, Bo says that there's some sort of ward, so he's looking around for any sigils, any enchantments, any items, anything at all giving him Arcana vibe.
Okay, give me an Arcana check.
And Bo's gonna message back to Viola. We're trying to still figure out how to get in. The door's open, but there's issues.
You can't get through an open door?
All right. Well, you come over here and try and get through this open door.
Viola's
roll
gonna
for
look
I got
and
an
see
11.
11? Okay.
Viola's gonna look and
Um,
see if she thinks she can walk back there without the guard seeing her.
Okay, Viola, you can roll perception. Snow, there's definitely an arcane, some kind of warding against something.
22.
It looks pretty clear, Viola. If you're not just storming, running, the guards' patrol seems to have taken her in a direction she's not like staring you down at the front of the house.
Well, Snow, let me
If
know.
we go now, we can make it. She's gonna just start walking.
Snow, is it? Do you think it's a bit too extreme if we were to start a fire on the house?
I feel like yes, it's really hard to put out afterwards if it gets out of hand.
Well, yeah, but that's what magic is for. They
Fine.
could just patch it on up.
Only if there's something left to patch. Can I borrow a dagger?
Yes, I'll pass him his dagger.
I'm just gonna take the dagger and like try to push it forward through the door frame, just through the open door frame.
This is just a
He
standard
wants
dagger.
to see.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants to see where the barrier is.
You push your arm or the dagger, nothing appears to happen.
He keeps going forward.
Dagger forever.
So you put the dagger through as far as your hand, or like, are you crossing the threshold at some point?
If he doesn't feel anything with the dagger, he'll also put his hand through.
You put your hand through, you push, and eventually your arm is through, your shoulder, your front, and you're in the door.
What are you talking about? It's fine.
Bo's gonna walk right through like he did, but with his arm out like that.
That's the past phrase. You have to walk with your.
Oh wait, he's gonna be like, toss me back the knife. And then he's gonna put the knife out and walk forward.
No, where are you standing while he's doing this?
Inside the house, where just like in the. I don't know what the house looks like right there.
Yeah, so you're currently in that living room area. It's this
Oh, I
very
see, yeah.
spacious. Yeah, this spacious, relatively sparse room. Also has that
Okay.
this beautiful richness. It's pretty open where you are, but there's no one
Yeah,
in there.
he'll just step away from the door as Bo comes in.
Both of you give me an Arcana check.
Ah, come on. I used up all my good
13.
rolls. 12.
Bo, you start approaching the door and you see Snow start backing away from the door just to give you space, and you're not sure exactly what it is.
Well, he can't see me.
Oh yeah, he's
Oh, you're
invisible.
Ah, so he just saw a dagger floating through space going towards.
Technically, once I was holding it, he couldn't even see that.
Oh. So you just informed him you were there. Okay.
Yeah, I just
Um,
walked through and I said, "It's literally fine," and then tossed the dagger back to him. Hope you catch it, because he didn't see it when I threw it, and then all of a sudden it's just there in the air coming at you.
I'll give him that rule cool anyway. Yeah.
I'm not like.
So I'll say- Now that you've been zapped twice by this thing, the closer you're getting to it, you sort of have that dread of like, if you touch this thing again, you may not have a good time going through it if you just kind of do what you did.
Well, since he knows Snow got on the other side, He's going to hold firm on the belief that maybe it's down. Maybe the stake on the window did it.
Busting in definitely did it. As Viola and Stan are coming around to where you told them the door was open, and you start going through, give me a Constitution.
Come on!
Maybe it just left
11.
because I'm a bard.
You have a very similar. You're able to brace yourself better this time because you've now felt this twice, but it does resist you.
He's going to, in his mind, Snow, move out of the way of the doorway. And he's going to, as soon as he's done doing that, he's throwing the knife through it in frustration. Just.
He throws this knife that goes soaring.
Yeah.
A regular knife?
Yeah, it's a dagger, so yeah.
The dagger that goes soaring through, and you just hear this ping as it sticks across into the wall on the opposite side.
Rob, you can throw a dagger. Why aren't you coming in? I'm so confused what
Well,
the issue is.
Yeah, how about this? You come over here, you take my hand and walk me through it then, if you're so confused. Maybe then you'll feel it.
I mean, if there is something there, I don't want to feel it.
Oh no, it's fine.
What are we doing?
You are now standing next to Bo, trying to, like, aggravatedly talking into his head.
I'm
We,
gonna start looking around.
Snow's inside the house. I'm
Is the
having,
door open?
technically,
Viola's
yes.
just gonna try to walk through the door.
You go around Bo, and you step on into this beautiful living room. Very spacious, lovely walls.
Stan, do me a
Some nice
favor.
carpets, some nice upholstered couches.
Yes. What's the favor?
Take my hand.
Are y'all dancing over there?
Are you scared?
This
No.
is the time for a tango.
Let's go past the door together. As you know, kind of like one step forward kind of thing. On a 3. 1, 2, a 3.
I'm going to regret this, but she'll let Bo take her hand.
They both try walking through.
Hand in hand, like the beautiful shipless it deserves to be, the two of you waltz into this beautiful living room, spacious, beautiful oaken dark walls, some nice upholstered couches and some rugs, instrument in the corner with some other chairs. It's not heavily furnished, but what is there is very nice. You are inside the house.
Bo's gonna stomp up the stairs.
Oh,
Okay.
He just wanted to hold my hand.
no! Oh,
I
no!
didn't see that coming, honestly.
So you stomp up
I
the
was
stairs.
interested.
You
He
go
has
up
to
these
hold mine as
twisting
well,
stairs.
actually.
You find yourself in this short hallway. Also very simple, very sparse. There's one door straight ahead, which you can imagine, based on how the house seems to be shaped, might be the bedroom. There's another door on the other, to your left, going into another room. There's some shelves. There's some trophies, some like animal trophies on the walls. A couple of smaller trophies sitting on these kind of floating shelves in this little area.
No
Is the-
follows behind.
Was there an open or a closed? He's gonna go in the direction that he, in his mind, figures was the bedroom from when he was looking up through the window.
And Snow's coming up behind.
Viola's following as well.
Stan's gonna close the back door, and then she'll follow.
Nice. Top notch. So Bo starts heading towards the door. The girls are coming up behind Snow. Snow, give me a perception check in that little hallway.
10.
So yeah, you
Yep.
also see a number of trophies and little maybe trinkets, maybe things collected over time. They're interesting to you just because you're interested in things. Are you following Bo behind through the door?
Yes.
So you open the door. You are immediately looking across the room of this spacious bedroom. There's a 4-poster bed. The covers, these plush looking covers, pulled up. To the side, you see there's a bedside table. There's an unlit candle on one side. On the other, you see a cup and a saucer, a little teacup and a saucer. You see the window that was in fact pushed open on the wall of the front of the house. It doesn't seem to let any air in though. It's very stagnant in the room still, no breeze. You see the writing desk that was along the wall you just came through, and the portrait of this, now a closer, not just so much a landscape portrait, it is the portrait of a village. You also see an armoire along the wall, and then you see another door, probably where that window from the back is. But there in the bed, you do see, just where the covers stop, you do see a familiar face, but it still looks very out of place. It doesn't look right. Just from the face alone, the skin, you see her white hair. It looks like it might be just matted down with sweat. Her skin is very pale. Even from that distance, she just looks very thin without like the bulk of that leather armor she's normally wearing. And what really catches your attention is that not only is her skin very pale, but in this very familiar way, a little shockingly familiar, you see these inky lines going underneath her skin where veins would be, all down until they disappear down her neck below the edge of the comforter. You see it along the crown of her head, all across. Her eyes are closed. She appears to be asleep, and you even see some of it going through her otherwise pale white hair, as you find Captain Nora Isalin asleep, unfazed seemingly by any of the sounds made, resting, maybe not resting so well, in her room. That's where we're going to end tonight.
You were gonna say that.